Hello, hello. This is my presentation for Project 3 Build Your Own World for CompSci 61BL Summer 2023 at UC Berkeley. My name is Jinsheng Li. Let's get started. So I conveniently titled my game Bear's Legend because why not? It's 61BL. So I'll start by talking about the bread and butter of this game, the ambition features. So my first feature that I have is an encounter system. Um, Basically, this randomly generated world will be populated by these red tiles that represent minor enemies. And if the player steps onto an enemy controlled tile, it's going to trigger a battle, an encounter, where um, player controlled characters will fight computer controlled enemy characters in in a stage. And the player can either get eliminated, get killed. All the players' character, if all the players' characters gets eliminated by the enemy, they're gonna lose the game. But if the player um, came out victorious, all their characters gonna level up. And um, talking about my second primary feature, I have implemented a um, boss with a pathfinding algorithm. So after the player beats their own enemy encounter, a boss will appear on this map. And as you see, it's this exclamation mark pointed out by this red arrow. And um, I used a graph BFS search algorithm. I basically connected all the floor tiles as like connected nodes in the graph and used a BFS to search for the shortest path from the boss to the um, player. Um, and every time the player moves one tile, the boss will move two tiles. So it's eventually gonna catch up to the player avatar. But that's not the end of the world. If the boss reaches the player, it's just gonna start another encounter. But the enemies will be stronger, and there will be more enemies than a regular battle. And about my secondary features. So the first feature I have is the player can choose their own names. For example, the default name is Oski, but today I decided to be Jinsheng. And once the player started the game, they're gonna see their name being reflected on the top left when the player's mouse hovers over the avatar. It's gonna be like the player's squad. And besides that, my game is fully playable in English, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. Um, as an example, this is one of the cutscenes in written in Chinese, and this is the same cutscene written in Korean. This is the Japanese version, and of course, last but not least, this is the English version of it. And also, inside the game world, the current date and time is always shown on the top right corner. And inside an encounter too, as you can see here on the top right corner. And this current date time gets updated every second. So like every new second is gonna like take another time. And so all right. That's all of the ambition features I have. Talking about the creative features above and beyond, the first feature that I have is a kind of a roster system where um, the player can control multiple characters in an encounter in a fight, and each character will have its own level, its class, its hit points, attack, and defense. And like different classes can counter each other and like perform differently against different enemies. And so, for example, here, this is like a battle that a player would face when they are just started out. They control only two characters, and they are like both level one. Their stats is like super low, and as the player progresses the game, their roster will be filled by more characters. Say like this is at a later stage of the game. The player has um, four characters to their disposal, and see this character is level 25. It has like much higher stats than this level one character, and yeah, and so stats basically in a battle they decide like how the character will perform in battle. Like if a character has higher attack, it's gonna deal more damage to the enemy, and if the character has more defense, it's gonna take less than damage from the enemy. And so another thing is NPC enemies, of course. The player is gonna fight computer controlled enemies. And in fact, the enemies in the stage uses the same BFS pathfinding algorithm as the boss. Um, every turn they that's how they close in distance with the player's units. And another thing I have is a portal to story mode. So like this game has like a linear story mode. And like at the beginning of the game, a player can choose to go into like um scenario the first scenario where the enemies are weak. It's like the player is just starting out, and like every consecutive scenario will be 5 levels higher than the last one. And what's cool about the storyline is the player will get cool stuff if they beat the stages, the levels in the storyline. For example, if a player rescues another character, that character is gonna join the player's roster, as I'll show you in a bit. And of course, in a battle, there is like this little sequence slash animation that plays. All right, well, now I guess I'll just show you how the game is played. So here you can see this is the main menu, and if you want to choose another language, of course, this is the Chinese version of the game. This is Japanese version. This is the Korean version, and well, just to show you it works, this game is like fully translated into the 4 different languages. And all right, so um back to the deal. So basically, what happens in the battle is once the player steps onto the tile controlled by the enemy, a battle scenario will play, and the player and the enemy will each take turns. Um, well, as you see, it takes like quite a while to get there. Um, so One interesting thing I found when I was implementing this pathfinding algorithm is because I have like say like this is a 20 by 20 board and like if the if like I run the BFS search algorithm every turn, it's gonna crash the game. It's gonna make the game so slow. Like every turn is gonna take like 1 minute to process if like the um the game searches like the closest friendly unit from like this specific enemy unit and like the enemy moves toward the friendly unit like one tile, it's gonna like make the game so slow. But like um how I how I um avoided that problem is instead of searching like pathfinding every turn, I basically like just do the pathfinding algorithm for once at the beginning, and then the enemies enemy's gonna remember the friendly's unit's position for like the next 10 turns. And like when the friendly unit gets close to the enemy, when the pathfinding algorithm doesn't take as long to run, it's gonna run the pathfinding algorithm for the enemy like every turn. Okay, so I'll show you this cool little battle animation, I think. Um, so when selecting like a friendly unit, and then you can basically order it to attack an enemy, and this little sequence plays. As you see, the enemy infantry takes 4 units. And by the way, there's a help screen for basically anything in this game. Um, like here, explain how the stage works. Like here, when you're selecting a friendly character, press J to move it, press K to attack, and press L to end your turn and like refresh your movement, and all the enemies will take action. And there's a little bit of like class countering in this game. Infantry does well against lancers. Lancers counter cavalry, and cavalry units counter infantry. And archers and sorcerers can attack enemies from a range, and the enemies won't attack back. And sorcerers attack can even penetrate a portion of the enemy's armor. Okay, so I'm pretty sure because there's two of us and only one of them. We're gonna win this battle without much trouble. All right, so the enemy's dead, um, and the stage is finished because all the enemies are eliminated. And because we finished the first stage, the boss will appear. It's right here, as this exclamation mark. And um, if you press E, it's gonna show like the path that the boss is gonna take. And all right, and I think I'll just show you the storyline next. Okay, so there is a cheat code that I implemented for debugging features. I think it's gonna take like a long time if I try to show the whole game for you. So just skip this part. Basically, there's a this cheat code just wins the game for you. And all right, so here's the storyline. And um, so the storyline has like five uh scenarios, 5 levels, and the next level is gonna appear after you beat the previous one. And um for each scenario, there's gonna be a little cutscene telling you what's going on in the story and basically background. Okay, so this cutscene is actually the one that I showed in the PowerPoint. The one that has like Chinese, the one with like Chinese, Korean, Japanese translation. And yeah, so basically this scenario is the two adventurers run into this battle that's taking place between Volkov and three bandits. And Volkov is surrounded by the bandits. Volkov can't move in the first turn because, well, I guess ambush. Um, but what's good here is because Volkov is a lancer, it counters cavalry units, and these two enemies are both cavalries. So um, although Volkov is surrounded by three enemies, it's not gonna take too much damage. So I ended my turn, and the enemies initiated their attack. All right, well, not too bad. So just for the sake of time, not gonna play through this entire scenario. I'll just skip it using the cheat code and show you what's gonna happen next. So yeah, basically here we just saved Volkov's life, and Volkov is gonna join us in our adventures. Okay, so um if I just um start an encounter with an enemy, you can see like there's three friendly characters now. Volkov is like one of them. Okay, so this scenario also has a forfeit feature that basically you just give up fighting, but like you give up fighting, but you don't gain any experience. That's the downside. So like because we just beat the first level with the cheat code, the second level unlocks for us. And just like that, there is a cutscene. So basically, what's happening in this scenario is the town of Thalassia is ending off a zombie invasion, and well, these friendly units get cornered. They're probably dead, and so also one of the required features for extra credit is the game must be winnable and losable. So to lose this game is very easy, but like for the sake of time, it's a little bit time consuming. For the sake of time, I won't show it in this video right now. So to lose the game, you just need like all the friendly characters to just die and lose the stage. If you lose the stage, you lose the game. Um, and the goal of this game, like how do you win this game, is by beating the entire storyline. Okay, so right now I'm gonna load from a game that's like progressed a little bit far. Um, See, like um this save file is at the fifth scenario. It's at the end of the game, and basically what happened in the middle is uh players team squad discovered that the Kaiser of the Empire was behind all this zombie pandemic, and the players team went to face the Emperor. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm just gonna cheat code through this level as well. So scenario finished. The Kaiser was defeated. Okay, so basically when you reach the end of the game by beating the entire storyline, you can choose to quit this game, but you may also stay in this game, and the enemies will get stronger and stronger as you get stronger. So, for example, there is a sixth scenario, but like it's not really a scenario with a storyline. It's just like uh, it's just a level with like strong enemies and um, a lot of enemies just to keep the game challenging and replayable even after beating the entire storyline. Okay, so I guess that's all I have about my game. Um, there's Legend. For example, this is in Chinese, but like I basically covered everything. That's it for this game, and um, thank you very much for your time. It was really a fun experience working on this project and making this game and debugging, going to office hours. So, thank you very much.